Hi, it's Kip and Bates here in minus 15 degrees Celsius, Finland. And what better thing to think about on a day like this than the EU regulations, markets in crypto assets. And in particular, what I was thinking about this morning was an observation by Jonathan Galea at BCAS that if you could create a token that referenced one fiat currency, say the euro, but was denominated in another currency, say the US dollar, then you would avoid a bunch of the regulatory requirements that are imposed on electronic money token providers. And those regulations are quite strict. For example, I think you need to be an accredited financial institution to be allowed to release those things. Anyway, forgetting about all the ins and outs of MiCA, it just posed an interesting problem, I thought. What does it mean to denominate a token in one currency and reference another currency? And initially my thought was, well, it's a nice thought experiment, but I don't see how that could be possible. However, I think there are actually mechanisms that would allow this on deeper thought. So first we have to understand what is meant by referencing a currency. And the idea there is your standard stablecoin with a bank account or some kind of asset storage to back up the value of the token. So there you might release a euro token on Ethereum or something like that. And then you have a bank account so that for every euro token that you release on the blockchain, there is a euro in the bank account backing it up. And that means that you can guarantee that if someone turns up at your doorstep with one of these euro tokens, they will get a euro back. And that's the kind of thing that the EU wants to see to ensure that people do not get ripped off. Otherwise, it would allow stablecoin issuers to mint their own money, and the authorities don't like that kind of thing. So that's the referencing of the asset. Now, denomination means that you're measuring, your unit of measure is a particular currency. So, for example, if you go and get a gift card from Selfridges in London, it'll be denominated in British pounds because British pounds are what are accepted in London. Whereas if you go and get a supermarket voucher here in Finland, it'll be denominated in euros because that's what they use here in Finland. So denomination is the unit of accounting that is used for the token. And here we then come to the tricky part, which is how can you have a token that is backed or pegged to by, say, euros, but that is denominated, that is, its value is measured in dollars. And what I've done for that is I've turned to the Amplify stablecoin, which is an algorithmic coin that uses the laws of supply and demand to change the amount of the token that has been issued to keep its value at, I think in the case of Amplify, $1 US. And what they do there is they actually reach into your wallet and change the amount of tokens that you have on a regular basis to keep the value of the token stable. And you can do that on a blockchain, of course. If you have the right smart contract, then if you control that contract and it's instantiating tokens, as the contract controller, you can add code in that arbitrarily, or in this case not so arbitrarily, algorithmically changes the balances that people have. And that is the trick, I think, that you can use to have a token that is denominated in US dollars, but that is pegged to the euro. And what you need is an oracle telling you the US dollar to euro exchange rate, and as that exchange rate fluctuates, you change the quantity that is being held by people. So let's, for argument's sake, say that $1 US equals 1 euro. Then if you have one of these Jonathan type tokens, you will have, it'll be denominated in US dollars, but it'll have a value of 1 euro. And now, if the exchange rate radically changes, and so it's, say, $2 to the euro, well, to keep the denomination at dollars, we now need everybody who holds one token to have two. So you go in and you double the amount of tokens that they have. However, if you try to exchange two of those tokens, you will only get €1. Whereas the week before, when the exchange rate was 1-to-1, one of those tokens would have gotten you €1. So as a holder of these tokens, you're not losing out. If you put in €100 to get a certain number of tokens, you know that the amount of tokens that you are holding will always get you €100 back. However, the number of tokens that you have will be proportional to the US dollar to euro exchange rate. And that mechanism, I think, would allow for an electronic money token that references one currency but is denominated in another. Anyway, I've just outlined it here. There's of course a lot of subtlety in the coding if you wanted to implement it, and I'm not sure that the gains from avoiding some of the regulatory requirements would be worth the effort in coding it, but who knows, maybe I'm wrong, maybe there's a business case there. But that's it for today. Hope you found it interesting, and I'll see you all in the next video soon. Bye for now. I'm now going to go and warm up.